I'm ready.
Okay. 응답하라 여친.
Go to the in to the she.
박 to the 경 to the 쭉. Oh, dang! Like I can't believe we just did like 3 takes because I got nervous.
Yeah, we've been out of practice. So we just came out of a months-long hiatus, summer hiatus. And it's the beginning of September. The kids are back in school. And we're slowly getting back into our routine.
I've like blanked out on your Korean.
It's okay. I mean, you haven't said it for a couple of months at least.
I know your name, obviously, but oh my gosh, it's been that long?
Yeah, and I mean, let's just give a refresher why we do that. So I'm saying go to the into the 실 because your name is 고은실. And my name is 박경주.
박 to the 경 to the 주. I know it, Jane. I know it. Oh my gosh. But these are I do worry about my brain because I have these like blankouts at random.
It's okay.
I know, but I wonder, is like my brain
probably in a later episode.
Huh?
We'll have to talk about that again in a later episode.
Yeah.
Just all the little strange things that are happening to our bodies at this age. And we have talked about that. It's been a theme, I think, on this podcast.
Yeah.
But speaking of podcast, it's been a year.
I know. We didn't do a year party, Jane.
We didn't. We've been so busy.
Oh, we need to do a year party.
We do.
We will do it.
We could do it at Osan.
Yes.
Yes.
Korean barbecue party.
That would be perfect.
Oh my God, yes. Yes. I'm so excited.
Yes.
Because actually Sarah was talking about doing a Korean barbecue party. But I was like, not sure what context we would do that in. That's perfect.
A 1-year party.
Reply YC.
Yes. And we can invite all the closest friends of the podcast. We can invite Blake. We can invite,
Yeah.
family. We can keep it super intimate.
Yeah.
Family, Osan family. And
yes. We need a celebration.
Yes, we really do. Because this was, it still is very much a passion project.
Yes.
But for me and my day-to-day for the last year, it's been what has grounded me. And the conversations that we've had have carried me through my weeks. Really, really, truly. And I was so looking forward to this because I had a pretty volatile summer.
Yes, you did, girl, and as did I.
Yeah, you had a lot going on.
That means the world to me. I know you tell me this.
Yeah.
But what we have here, listen, I know we can be better at advertising our podcast.
Promoting. Yeah.
You
would think we'd be good at it.
I know. But like we have our children, and the fact that we always respect each other's like lives, like real lives that involve like taking our kids to school.
Yeah.
Your husband's currently injured right now. Like we have our home life, and that always will come first for both of us. That mutual respect makes me never feel pressured or like this is never going to be a stress item for us, this podcast.
Right.
We do it genuinely. I know there's so many podcasts out there.
Yeah.
And oh my God, we get so many emails like use us to promote you, like you're.
We know we. I don't know because I don't monitor that inbox.
Yeah, I get so much.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, it comes to me.
That's okay.
And they're always
I'm glad
like,
to know.
we can tell you want to be doing better, and I'm like, you could be growing your audience right now.
I know, and you've sent me those videos, and I'm like, honestly, I am not interested in growing fast, growing big, super fast.
Yeah. Yes.
Because really, really, I feel I want to protect this space.
Yes.
Yeah. Everyone is welcome. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But we just want to be mindful about who comes here.
Yeah. And it's because like we grew this from a very cherished place, and it's something that we don't want to ruin. I mean, I don't want to use that word, but like it has a special place in our hearts. And the friendship I've grown with you, I'm not going to cry. I know I'm a crier. It has, like you said, it has grounded me as well.
Yes.
There's a lot of TikTok drama that I deal with. But you know what I say to myself? I say, I can't be a shit person if Jane likes me. Jane would not like. Jane would have cut me off if I was a shit person.
Oh my gosh.
And Jane's husband likes me. Jane's kids like me. So I'm like, no. Like sometimes I doubt myself. And I'm like, am I the one? Am I the drama?
No, and you know, like I think if we had only kept our friendship on social media, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Right? But
yeah.
I think we both made a mutual decision and we felt safe and trusting enough to bring it out into the real world. And I think we've shown up for each other time and time again.
In real life, with our families. I mean, you're always checking up on me. Do you want to record today? How are you feeling? Yeah, because your actual real life, mental health, physical health, those are real priorities. Yeah. And this is wonderful, but both of us know and respect, and our values are in sync. Whatever we got going on social media, whatever other projects we might have, it pales in comparison to our utmost protected space for our family. So I love that mutual respect we have for each other. And it's a very, I'm finding this mutuality, synchronicity. Is that a word? Is it a word?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think so.
I feel like I've heard that as a word, is very, very rare.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how rare this was. And so I love when you tell me, because sometimes I get so many emails about like, don't you want to grow your podcast? I feel like, oh, I'm not doing enough, you know?
It's meant to do that.
Yeah, and then I was like, I better send this to Jane because, what if because I'm not being vigilant on these emails, we're missing out. So I send it to you, and then you're like, we can go at a snail pace. It's okay. It's okay. I love hearing that from you. I love that. And I don't know if you've listened in on some of the current drama that's happening on TikTok. Be better. He's the guy that's always like, I have a marketing degree. I'm the youngest person in Canada to have a marketing degree.
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, so he like instantly rose to fame because his thing is like, let me tell you what you're doing wrong with your brand. Nara Smith, he did one on.
Oh, and I think I've seen.
Yeah, you've seen
some
him.
Of his,
And it's all like, oh, this is my take, marketing wise, like, you're not appealing to your audience. He does analysis.
Sure.
And then he did one on Kamala.
Okay.
And it was not received well. And it definitely felt like someone that grew too quick and then started to really think and believe that they were an expert.
What is his credential?
Just that he has an MBA. Okay. Just that he has an MBA in Canada is the youngest person to have an MBA.
Got it.
Which is like not at all expert on a political campaign, right?
Right.
So people,
he's analyzing like social media accounts. And does he have that real experience? It sounds like no.
Right.
Because his social media following or platform or clout has grown from this.
Yes.
So he's doing it in real time.
Yeah.
Analyzing it through the lens of his business training or whatnot.
From the outside perspective, it felt like his account grew overnight. Like from like, I don't know when I first saw him, but it was like, let's say it was like 30K or something. And then it is like almost 1 million, right?
Yeah.
And then he did this thing and it was just it was almost like, there it is. People were waiting for it. Like we knew you were gonna fuck this up because you were just so starting to believe your own height. And it was disastrous. So now his account is actually dropping from like I think it was getting close to 1 million. It's dropped like 100K.
Okay.
Which like that kind of fall overnight is pretty a big drop. Anyways, but that's a thing, right? Like a lot of these creators that grow like super popular, it's almost like they can't handle it. What's that like musician that grew really big recently. It's like a very, Blake, do you know what I'm talking about? She looks like kind of like Ethereal Chaperone. Classic example.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knew her like beginning of this year. But now, and people were talking about like, oh my gosh, like just around this time last year, I got tickets for like $30. Now you can't fucking get a ticket unless it's like $300 or so.
Oh, wow.
And just blew up. But
Yeah.
like, I think she made a post about like, oh my God, people are coming up to my face. Like she herself was not ready for this overnight sensation.
Mm-hmm.
People are just like coming right up to her, and she's not equipped for it.
Right. And it's happening more and more.
Yeah.
Right?
Because people are made
age.
into these, in the digital age.
Yeah.
And I think that made me really like realize I don't want that.
No.
I really do enjoy my family, my privacy, my real friendships. Like, I think as authentic as someone can be on social media, I have been.
Mm-hmm.
I do share a lot. But in terms of like what I have with my kids, my husband, it's like very close to my heart, right?
Right.
And all of that getting like so thrown out there suddenly would be rattling.
Of course.
And so protecting a natural growth, because you want to collect, I think when you go viral, like everybody flocks to you. And it's not all of them are going to be your audience.
No.
And so having like a slow growth where you talk about things that would be relevant to your target audience, I'm like, that makes sense.
Right. And we want to build, a community of loyal listeners.
Yeah.
And
people who would actually sit down with
value.
us. Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of following or tuning in for like the quick hits, viral moments. So for us, it's a red flag when a video hits like 1,000 views.
I know. We got
like,
scared.
Oh my God,
We're
what's
like,
going on?
Why are people? And then sure enough, when we looked at the comments, it was hate comments, right? Because they're like, what was it? It was like, oh, these two women. What was it even about?
Gosh, I don't know. It was about in the context of, I think, relationships,
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah. And then these bros, right?
Girls trip.
Yeah,
it was about girls trip. Innocuous,
oh my God, it got
innocuous subject.
We were talking about how we sometimes take girls trips and how that energizes us. Yeah, to have some time with our friends. And it got taken into like, oh, we know what they do on those girls trip, like those movies.
Right.
Like we're gonna go do coke and like fuck around like 10 men or something like that. I'm like, what
like
are you guys
breakers.
on?
Yeah.
We go like the Asian mom girl trips are like we go to a buffet together.
Yeah. I mean, the misogyny in those comments.
We go get facials together.
Loud and clear.
We go like get dressed up and go out for like one fine dining experience.
We come home by 9 p.m.
Yeah.
And then, eat chips on the bed and face
But all
masks.
these men were in our comments like so mad. Like, I know what you do on these girls
so
trip on my money.
Yeah, clearly not our audience. Not our audience.
Anyways. But yeah, I can't believe we've been doing this a year.
I know. What were some of your highlights or I think the best moments in the year, would you say, in the podcast?
Definitely our live recording. I thought that was
back in November.
Yeah, I thought that was so
Day
fun.
With
Cho,
Commissioner Sam Cho, and we were trying to hype him up.
Yeah, real friends with him.
Yes.
We saw him recently. That was really nice.
That was such a great night because we were still pretty new.
Yeah,
and it had a lot of our friends came, but a lot of people who just found
who actually are listeners
that we didn't know.
I was like, you listen to us? You know how people like fangirl? I was fangirling our audience. I was like, really? Like, you found us on your own?
Mm-hmm.
And I was just, you know, it was.
It was an opportunity to bring business to Sarah's restaurant,
Yes.
Ozhan.
Yes.
And, I think following that, Sam brought his staff to the restaurant.
Yeah.
A
That
lot of
felt
people,
truly
yes,
rewarding.
yeah.
That
And
we're
my good friend had her son's first
poor.
birthday party
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
last month. And building community, I think, has always been one of our goals,
Yes.
right? And one of our values that we
Yes.
hold very deeply. We've spoken many times about how it was almost, very serendipitous that Ozhan is right downstairs
Yes.
from this studio where we
Yes.
record. And it's just been a really, I think, just a healing time for
Yes.
me.
Like, to be able to have a tangible relationship
Mhm.
with our audience and
Yeah.
bring that audience to a space that
Mhm.
we very much care about and hope to grow with,
Mhm.
to support Sarah as a Korean American small business owner in our own
Yeah.
city.
Yeah.
That is what drives us. That
Yes.
kind of value.
Mhm.
That, and I think that's, and I love, and this is where I have such deep respect for your background, because I think you have that from a journalistic perspective of covering local news that matters to the community.
Mhm.
Like, I don't think this is a common thing,
Right. And I think, okay, like local, real life, small. I
Yeah.
think that's the opposite of social media
Yeah.
out there, millions of followers.
Yeah. Getting big, counting the
talking
numbers.
into the abyss.
Yeah.
So for me, I need this to ground myself. Okay. Like these are the people that I see in my community. I think of Mr. Rogers, like in your neighborhood.
That.
Right. But
I love that.
that's what matters to me.
Yeah.
And that for me is safe.
Yeah, and it makes your soul richer.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a rare find to have something like this. Do we make money? No.
No, but I think that's why we're so careful with how this goes.
Yeah.
We don't pay to be on TikTok or Instagram.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why we become the commodity.
Yeah.
But this is, something that we feel is important to us, that we put our own time and effort and funds into.
And sacred,
Mm-hmm.
because it's our real friendship. It's also our friendship with Sarah, even with Blake, like also him growing his studio here.
Yeah.
We followed him here.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like community building in every aspect. And I love that about us.
Yes.
In a world where everything is so capitalistic and so about, who and make more money, like
do more,
more,
dream
right?
bigger,
Yeah,
reach higher.
I'm like, why can't this be enough? It feels enough to me.
Yeah.
And the fact that you say to me, I think we're good. We can go at our own pace. I love that.
Yeah.
I am genuinely so thankful you came into my life. And it could have been, like you said, we could have just stayed like social media friends that like do play dates here and there. But to have grown this with you is such a gift.
Yeah.
And I genuinely, I have prayed and thanked God for this relationship. And I always thought I wanted an 언니, but I was like, no, I think I wanted a 동생.
Really?
With you.
Yeah.
Because even though you're younger than me, you're so wise. And you keep me level-headed.
Yeah.
You give me great advice. And I think that the way I pour out love also feels, you don't, because you're always the one that's been taking care of people. You're the older in your family. I think maybe for you, in a way, it's kind of refreshing to have someone not to take care of.
It really is. Yeah.
that you can come to and be like, hey, this is what's going on with me.
Right,
And so
right.
I think we balance each other out really well.
Yeah, but you broke the ice for me with that. Do you remember before we started the podcast? We hung out. We had dinner at my house. We might have talked about this
Yes,
previously.
we did. Yeah.
Yeah. But you called me the next day and said, were you and Ben okay?
Yeah,
I sensed
I
something
was like, am
off.
I being too nosy right now? But I genuinely...
But you gave me the space because you said if I'm being nosy or if you don't want to talk about it or if I'm off the mark, like, don't even think about it. But were you okay? Because I sensed that something was off.
Yeah, and I loved that you felt, because I wasn't sure. I was like, oh, I know that we're kind of like new friends.
Yeah.
But I want her to know, I know that's not them. Like, I know that they might be going through something. I didn't want you to think I was in any way judging you or anything. I just wanted you to know, like, we all have our struggles, so if you need to talk about it. And then you immediately opened up to me.
I mean, I think I felt the safety.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think I got a good sense of who you are and what our dynamic is. And I really saw that there was mutual respect there.
Yeah.
So even though our friendship was newer at that point, you know, the posture in which you just approached me.
Yeah.
And said, hey, you're safe to share as much or as little as you want. And you were offering me your time.
Yeah. And especially, I think you got that. It's because I'm obviously rooting for you. And it wasn't like, oh, what's going on there? You know, it wasn't that kind of like, you know, the Korean ajumma vibes, like, I sense a little tension. It wasn't like that.
No.
It was like, oh, you know, like, if there's anything I can help with, we all go through it.
But, you know, I was a little bit taken aback because I thought I was hiding it well.
Oh, you were not hiding it well. You know, actually, maybe you were. I mean, no, you were not. But like Ben
was not hiding it well.
Ben looks so sad. Ben 기죽었어. Korean word, there's a 기죽었어. Like his energy was so. Like, he was down bad,
shoulders.
bro.
Yeah.
He was like, he looked so
and I don't even
sad.
Remember.
Yeah.
Why did the feelings feel so intense at the time? And if you ask me what we fought about last week, it's probably one of three things. It's always like the same themes, right? But I couldn't pinpoint or it's like a very, very silly reason in retrospect.
Right. And you know, and I think you know this about yourself because there's a pattern.
Yeah.
Like when you are stressed already, it has nothing to do with him personally.
No.
But like you got like all this stuff going on with the school, all this stuff going on with, you know, Ruby, like, and all these things piling up, and you're kind of like, oh my God, like I'm gonna drop the ball somewhere. You're on this like frenzy,
a pressure cooker.
Yes, you're because you let things simmer. And they start boiling and boiling. And then comes Ben, hey, how you doing, honey? 눈치가 왜 없어? Like, you cannot read the room, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, he pushes that one wrong button at the wrong time. And it's like,
I think he is good at reading the room, not especially being, you know, how many years we've been together now. But he just doesn't, his solution is always like, you can let go.
Right, it's so, but at that time, when you're at the like height of all your frustration, to hear something like that is super agitating because my husband does that too.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny to hear you put words to this because you're not like this.
Right, but I also get riled up over something, you know, stupid, and then he'll say something like, who cares? He actually does it like this.
Dismissive.
He's like, meh. He does a whole, it's so condescending. It's worse than what Ben does, Jane. At least Jane is like, or at least Ben is like, you know, hey, I don't think it's
well, he knows what to say now.
Right.
Right? So he
but
Adonis,
says
the right thing.
Oh my, he'll do the, he'll do the head shake. He'll do the smug smile. And he knows it bugs me, and he does it to bug me.
That's really funny. That's really funny.
Yeah, so I guess in that sense, I'm an onni. Like I get it, I see it, I recognize it in my own marriage. So,
but there is that reciprocity because we do that for each other.
Yes,
right. And
yes.
when I tell you my troubles, you help me see the other perspective, and you help me see outside of that. And you're like, it is not. One, I understand it's a lot, it's stressful, be kind to yourself.
Yeah. We give each other grace.
Yeah.
That I know people throw that terminology around, give yourself grace. But I genuinely think for both of us, it's easier to do it for other people. And so we're so good at doing it for each other.
Yeah.
But we both recognize we are hard on ourselves.
Right.
And so it's like, we both help each other see grace for ourselves. And I think that's been tremendous in both of our relationships.
Yeah. And I've learned so much about relationships over this year from speaking with you and processing, all marriage relationships, friendships relationships. We've talked about friendship breakups, family relationships.
Damn,
parent child,
Wow, we've covered all those relationships. And we have been and even after the podcast, we'll go down to have lunch at Osan.
Yeah.
And still talk
and it'll
about
be
our
like
real
more
lives.
real talk.
Yeah, like real. Like, okay, well.
Under the layers. I mean, we get pretty real here.
Yeah.
We do. But, then there's another layer.
Yeah.
Right?
That's like a safe, like,
yeah.
Throw it in the vault.
Sure. And we're always discussing, okay, how much can we say? What do you feel comfortable, putting out there?
Right. It's like that, safe word. What's your safe word? Like, and I always ask you, like, hey, I know that we might veer into this topic. Are you okay with it?
Yeah.
And I think that level of wanting to protect each other, I think that's really key.
It is.
Like, we know. I mean, look at those two girls. What is it? Tana and I forget those. Canceled. That podcast canceled. Brooke Schofield.
Okay.
Jane,
I don't know.
If you don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, you've been living under a rock, Jane. It's these two white girls that have a podcast together. And basically, they're the white girl version of us.
They had a falling out?
Younger and...
Cooler.
More white,
younger and whiter.
Mainstream.
Okay,
we're the what's the opposite of mainstream?
Marginal.
We're the unmainstream.
Niche.
We're the
underground.
We're the in the gutters. They had a huge falling out. I think I never actually listened to their podcast because it's too white for me. But one of them, like all her past stuff came out of all the N-words she dropped. And she had...
my eyes are bulging.
Oh, okay. You live under... Jane, you are surviving in the trenches of your real life. So
sometimes I have to stay safe from TikTok and stuff.
It's true.
I only go on there when I have to do something.
I need to do that more.
Yeah.
But she basically... The podcast grew and grew. And again, this is another thing where it really grew in the recent couple months. And it's because she did this 16-part series about the guy that she was dating.
Okay.
And it was kind of like after Tisa Risa and this dude
who I only know about because of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This dude, he's like a musician. He's actually, I mean, if you just listen to his sound, he sounds good. But it turns out he lied to her about his family being dead. Like, why would you lie about it? He said he didn't have a mom because she died. And it was a lie.
Okay.
It was just weird things to lie about. And so she called him out on it. And it became this big thing. People were riveted. Like, why does someone lie about stuff like that? And then it turns out he was cheating on her. And though I think the whole story was super fascinating to people because he's not cute whatsoever. And Brooke is this hot girl, but she chose to give this talented artist chance,
Uh-huh.
and he like fucking blew it.
Uh-huh.
He was still cheating on her and doing all these nasty things.
Uh-huh.
So then like everybody's like, Team Brooke, like, oh my God, they're so in love with their girl. And at the height of being put on a pedestal, her old, it's always with these white celebrities or white TikTokers, all the old tweets came out, and it was about, you know, her using the N-word, but that case, Trayvon Martin. Yeah, Trayvon Martin. I think she was 19 and Trayvon was 17 at the time.
Okay. And that's not that young.
Right.
To know
and then she
better.
said like, oh, he kind of like essence of like he deserved it. Like he was not a child.
What?
Oh yeah. Like it was so
harmful.
Yeah, so harmful. Yeah. Like he got what he deserved kind of things. And so people are like, whoa. And then they like it seemed like they had a friendship breakup because of that time. I was like, I can't stand for that, even though she herself had all these past tweets. It's so funny. Wow. I mean, not funny, haha, but anyways. At least you don't have racist tweets.
Don't think
I don't
do.
Even think, were we even on Twitter?
I only got Twitter because I needed it when I was a reporter.
Oh.
So obviously, if there was flagrant stuff, that would have gotten me fired.
I think I was on Twitter to try to get like companies to like give me a refund.
Yes. Yeah, a complaint line. I think that was
like,
the last time.
Because they don't. Yeah, because they don't answer.
I used Twitter was to get to PayPal because I had that whole drama this summer.
Because they don't reply to their customer service emails.
I didn't have my password. I had to reset my ex password.
Oh my God. By the way, that happened. Is that completely resolved?
It's completely resolved because so backtrack a little context. My PayPal got hacked earlier this summer.
So terrible.
But it happened like multiple times, and it started as getting emails, random, middle of the night.
Yeah.
Your password has been reset.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't reset my password.
Yeah.
Then you go in through the app, through the back end, and say like, oh, this was unauthorized activity. And then I would reset my password again. Yeah. You know, and I would monitor my transactions, nothing.
But then
But then it started getting bigger and bigger. It ended up being about $8,000.
Right. Which is not small change,
not
you know?
small. And I use PayPal to get paid by clients. That's why I have it.
Yeah.
And also to check out quickly when I shop online.
Right. Or like
2 reasons.
I remember TikTok only using PayPal to
TikTok
pay you
only
out.
used PayPal. So I haven't gotten paid out by TikTok. It's dollars. It's not a lot.
Yeah.
But it's probably sitting there, some balance, because I don't have it. So long story short, it got resolved because I was reporting so much unauthorized activity. PayPal was like, you're too risky. We're going to ban you. And we are no longer doing business with you.
We are breaking up with you.
Yes. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Like, I for sure will be breaking up with you after I get all my money back. But
you can't fire me. I quit.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just the other day, I was checking out online, and I'm like, oh, this is so inconvenient because I can't do like the one button PayPal. Yeah. You know, and I'll use Apple Pay, you know, when I can and stuff. But yeah.
Oh, and
all that to say that was the last time I used
which
Twitter.
Is crazy. That is not, I mean, $8,000 is a lot. And they hit you at such a vulnerable time because you were busy in Disneyland for the first time.
Yes.
You're supposed to be in the happiest place on earth. Yeah. And you got hit with all that.
Yeah. Luckily, I got to be happy and stuff. And then it was like the day after that was done. And then
By the way,
we came back.
First time ever in Disneyland with your little ones. How was it?
When I grew up 20 minutes away from Disneyland.
I know. Didn't you go all the time as a kid?
No.
Wow.
It was a very, very special occasion thing. I went when I was really little, I remember. And then, you know, maybe a couple of times with my family, but it was like when we had relatives from Korea, then we would go.
Oh.
And then I went yearly, but that was because I did marching band
Ah.
and we had parades.
Yeah.
And so we had parades at Disneyland, and then after the parade is done, then you can finish out the school day. So like the last 3-4 hours you could play.
So how did the
amusement
kids
park.
like it?
They loved it. And they're 8 and 10 now, and we always fly into John Wayne, which is basically the Disneyland airport. Everybody flies into
okay.
Orange County.
Right.
And over the last couple of years, I would say my kids would always notice people with like the ears, the Disneyland bags.
They became
like,
aware. What is that?
Is Disneyland here? Is it close? Why do we never go to Disneyland when we're in California? And honestly, it's because for us, vacation was synonymous with just dropping them off at grandma and grandpa's house, letting them have pool time.
Yeah.
And us seeing our friends.
Right. You got for you.
Yeah.
The California trip is not just like a tourist trip because you got so much family there.
Right.
Yeah. So obligations.
For us, it's home.
Yeah.
And so it never occurred. I mean, it did, but every time we would think a lapse in judgment, like, should we do Disney this trip? We're like, oh no, we don't want to do that.
We don't want to open that door.
Yeah.
I think you did it smart. Like, they're now at an age where they can really appreciate. I don't know why. I think my husband is such a kid at heart. I didn't go to Disneyland until I was like, I think like 15, like once.
Okay.
And so I remember that one time thing. So
was it amazing, or was it just okay?
I think because I was like a teenager, I think it was just okay. It didn't have that wondrous,
sure,
because by that age, this is like all like fake, right? But I think it's something really special at ages like 8,
And that's what I remember as a kid, which I kind of took with, when I was in high school. I did have a ton of gratitude. I never took it for granted. I was like, I'm so lucky. I play in a parade and then I could play here all day. But that's because of the childhood memories of how it was just like immensely fun, like the whole day. And I wanted to give our kids that experience. And I think they had that.
I think I got that through them. When I see their eyes just light up like, oh, this is what Disneyland is. Like,
and that's so fun as a parent.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, they're so excited. That joy, that child joy is so pure.
No, it's just that, the morning is crisp and you've parked and you're walking to the tram, but like everyone around you is cheerful and a good mood.
Yeah.
Because you're all going to the park together and entering together, and then by the end of the day, you're like,
all right, are we done here?
The
We're
parents
done
are
here.
done. We almost didn't make it to the third day because the kids got into a really big, like just a tiff, like an argument.
It's the exhaustion.
It was the exhaustion, but we salvaged it, and we did 3 days in a row, which I don't know if I recommend.
No, you did a lot. You did a lot, but you got your money's worth. Isn't it a 3-day pass?
It was, they were running a promo, I think, until the end of September, but it was a really good rate if you went
did it
at
well.
least 3 days. So
you got a milk because that shit is expensive.
Well, we were banking on the hope that this is going to be your one time. I don't think that's going to be the case because now they want to go every year. But
you didn't really think you could do the one-time thing, did you?
Yeah. But you know what? Next time we go, we don't have to be there that long. We can just do one day.
You've done the full immersion.
Yes.
So now you can dabble in it.
Yes,
and that's the beauty of it.
Exactly.
And we haven't seen each other. There's so much to catch up. The last thing I want to ask you about is that one lady that you helped out.
Oh my gosh, that happened too, right before the summer.
I know, right.
There was a lady that I met at a diner in my neighborhood.
Right.
And she kept looking at me and the kids, and which happens sometimes if they recognize
Yeah, and
me.
you got a lot of like, I think, ads that are running. I think that you would be very recognizable.
Maybe. But she didn't look like she would be on TikTok or, you know. And she came up to me as I was bussing my table, and she just started a conversation, talked about how cute the kids are, and she said, "Oh, thank you." And then she like hung around there. She wants to keep talking. And we didn't have much going on. It was a weekend. I was just going to go to the library with the kids. She explains to me that she starts sharing that she has 2 daughters, but her older daughter is in the hospital. She's been in cancer treatment.
Yeah.
And I didn't have like my flag readers up.
Yeah.
You know, I just was listening to her, and it sounded really genuine. She seemed like a home health aide because I had seen her multiple consecutive Saturdays.
Okay. At where?
At the diner. In,
oh,
in
yeah,
our
yeah. Near your neighborhood. Okay.
Yeah. Because that was for a while, that was our Saturday thing.
Yeah.
We would go and eat lunch there.
Yeah.
And she said, my daughter is, actually, I said, so have you been at the Ronald McDonald House? And the Ronald McDonald House, you know, there usually is one next to every large children's hospital.
Yes.
And they provide very affordable lodging
Yes.
for families who have to travel for care. And
Right.
the only reason why I'm familiar with Ronald McDonald is because we had to we were beneficiaries. Like we lived there for 3 weeks almost back a long time ago, back in Michigan when Ruby was at in the hospital.
Wow.
And so that place has a fond, you know,
Place in your heart.
place in my heart.
Yes.
And I know a ton of families travel to get care at Seattle Children's.
Yeah.
So she explained that, and then she said, but we can't stay there because we maxed out. And so we have to find stable housing, and that's been really hard. So basically she was just sharing this, and then she got really emotional, and I really felt compelled to help her out.
Yeah, which, you know, you usually are the one telling me, Ellen.
Don't do that.
You're usually one, Ellen. You can't just you can't just, you know, get into everybody's life story.
Yes.
So I was actually really surprised when you told me what happened.
Yeah.
And then you got sucked into this.
Yes.
Yeah.
I ended up, it ended up being maybe like a week long, almost 2 week long ordeal of her reaching back out to me for help.
Yeah.
For setting up like a GoFundMe. For
getting, and you had never done that before.
I had never done that, but it just didn't stop. It, you know, and she wanted me to handle everything.
Wow.
And I just felt, with me being semi-public, and, you know, I just didn't want to endanger. I just didn't want to be rash in any way.
Right.
And I thought it would just end after, you know.
You thought once I help her get settled,
cover,
then it should be like,
I think it was like security deposit or something.
Yeah. So how are you, like, it kept
doing that. Yeah.
And then what?
I just slowly had to kind of like ignore her calls.
Oh, yeah.
And,
that's
I mean, I set up GoFundMe, but then she didn't have like the accounts to, you know, they need like verified accounts.
Right.
To get it.
Yeah.
back.
You had
so
to
then
like,
it was like, oh, I can't do that. Can you just Venmo me that?
Yeah.
You know, but the money stays in like the platform.
Right.
And it was all of that. And I just felt I was getting really, really deep into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
no good
I just
deed
had
goes
to.
unpunished.
That's what I felt. I mean, I really felt for her.
Right.
But I felt, you know, this is why you have your hospital social worker.
Yeah. That's what their actual job is.
The volunteers. Yeah.
I decided never to do a GoFundMe for myself or for anyone else, because I also try to help a domestic abuse victim.
Yeah.
And then people were digging into her life, trying to see if she was a valid, it's
I
like
don't know why they do that.
It gets
but
so ugly so
yeah,
fast.
it really, really does. It really does.
So I said, you know what?
Yeah.
I can help if you get it set up.
Mhm.
I can help you make it more circulate. But I drew that line for myself as well. Like, don't.
Yeah.
It gets.
Yeah, but I mean, it sucks because
You want it to
happens
do a
because
good
people
thing.
have no safety net.
Yeah.
And it happens because the
And
system is so broken.
Right. And don't let it get to you. You did a good thing. I'm sure she felt tremendous aid. You did do that.
Yeah. I mean, at the same time, I felt extremely like I did something I shouldn't have done. And I was
know,
like
that's
really,
what
really scared to
sucks.
tell Ben.
I know. That's what sucks.
Yeah, it sucks.
It's so scary to tell our husband. The judgment. My
You
husband's
did
always
what?
like, again. The face. I can't handle his face. He's like, what
Adonis
did you get yourself into now?
Adonis is like, what now? Ben's like, you did what? Like, you're not that person, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, yeah, I was trying to.
And by the way, this is not anything like you because you're very cautious.
It's not like me. It's not like me. I think mom to mom, that was my vulnerability.
Yeah.
That was my weakness when she said she has a sick child.
Yeah.
And they're in
but you know what, Jane?
Unstable housing.
I think you did exactly what you were supposed to do. I mean, yes, it became a little headache towards the end, whatever, but you were that stepping stone to guide her in the right direction, and you did that. Did it in kind of like in a, the thing is, you want when you do good things to feel good, and then it ends up feeling messy and not good.
Yeah.
But don't let that ruin what you actually did.
Mm-hmm.
You did you helped her find the right resources. You helped her get settled into a safe space. I
feel like I did as much as I could because I even checked with the hospital. They can't tell me anything, of course, right? But they did confirm
and you did that
they were supporting this family.
Exactly.
So I just gave them a heads up.
Yeah.
Hey, this family still needs support.
Exactly. You
can't just give them
for
a letter
them.
and say you need to be in stable housing, by this date. And I just said, I'm letting you know that they reached, I met this person.
Yeah.
And they still very much need help.
Yeah. And I remember you were in that particular time, for whatever reason, I do remember you feeling a little lost, like, I want to do more.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was something going on at that time, and that
it
happened.
was a very busy time because I was very involved with like our potential school closure.
Right. And it felt that was so like out of your control.
Uh-huh.
And I think that landed on you. Like the universe doesn't make it pretty.
No.
But
it's like
that landed on you, and you did help them.
Yeah.
You did help them. It doesn't, it's not like in the movies where it gets wrapped nicely.
Right.
Like, what a great moment. It's not a Hallmark moment.
Right.
But the reality is you help this family get situated.
I don't blame her for continuing to reach out to me.
Yeah.
She, from her perspective, it's like, oh my gosh, this person helped me.
Well, she probably was
sure,
like, this is my
she'll
angel.
help me again,
Yeah. Yeah. But you do have your own daughter you advocate for on the regular. You have your full plate. Also right now Ben is injured.
Yes, and Sawyer is injured. My husband
Our
and your
lives
son
are sync. Oh my God!
I'm telling you,
talk about synchronicity.
It's like a wonder that we made it here today. But I knew I needed to come here today because I needed.
So did I. I was like so excited to see you. You are my breath of fresh air. I wonder, and then, oh my God, I just saw Daily Dose of Sunshine.
You did. Oh my gosh. It's such a good, it's
so
such a good one.
Jane.
Good Korean drama.
I almost was like, should our podcast name been a Daily Dose of Sunshine? Because you are my daily dose of sunshine, Jane.
Weekly dose, maybe.
Daily would be tough. Daily would be tough.
But
just getting here is we rent the studio, guys, and we have our producer, but getting into Seattle from, my neck of the woods.
And I'm only 10 minutes, but I'm like, I haven't driven downtown in a month. And I was like white knuckled.
Yeah.
It gets kind of crazy.
The weekly thing is perfect for us.
Yes. It's what we can, it's the dose, right? So we need that. And
God, I am so happy to see you today.
I'm happy to see you.
Make sure you guys hold on to the real friends in your life that give you that daily dose of sunshine.
It's a good one.
Lots of love.